Okay, we're going to review how to measure an angle. We've been doing this for a couple weeks now, but I want to review it really quickly with everybody before you start doing some work on your own, mostly because we've been out of school for a few days now. So, first thing you do is make sure you have your protractor. Everybody has one. Everybody went home with one. Also, don't forget my handy dandy saying, I left my stinky socks outside, and we'll review what that means in a second. So I want to make sure that my protractor is being read in the correct way. So if you're looking at your protractor and you're going from left to right and you have zeros in front of other numbers, you know it's backwards. You got to flip it over. Okay? So I take my protractor. Let's zoom in a little here. Okay, take my protractor. Actually, first, before I even do that, I want to ask myself, is this angle an acute angle or an obtuse angle? An acute angle less than 90 degrees or an obtuse angle greater than 90 degrees. I can tell by eyeing it that this is an acute angle. That means that I know when I'm measuring it, it has to measure less than 90 degrees. I cannot end up with an acute angle that's 140 degrees because that's not possible. So I take my protractor, I line up my meeting point, the point where the rays meet and create a vertex. I line it up with the bottom of this crossbar. The crossbar is right there. There it is, lined up. I'm looking at it. I see that my bottom ray is facing in the left direction. So I know I left my stinky socks outside. So if my bottom ray is pointing in the left direction, I'm going to use the outer scale. So I'm going to start counting from this outer 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I'm not crossing 80 yet, so it's got to be less than 80, but more than 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. So that's a 75 degree angle. And the way I write that is angle ABC equals 75 degrees. Let's do another one. This is angle DEF. Again, I'm going to ask myself first, is it acute or is it obtuse? I can tell from eyeing it that it's obtuse. It's greater than 90 degrees. So I know that the measurement will have to be greater than 90 degrees. I take my protractor, I line up the meeting point with the bottom of that crossbar, make sure that the bottom or the straight edge or the zero edge of my protractor is flush with the bottom ray. Remember that flush means right up against each other. Now, I look at my ray and it's pointing in the right direction. So it's going to be the opposite of I left my stinky socks outside. If it's pointing in the right direction, I'm going to use my inner scale. So I'm going over here. I'm starting to count from this inner 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. I'm passing 120, not passing 130. So let's see, I go up here, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125. So the measurement of angle DEF equals 125 degrees. Let's do another one. This is angle GHI. Again, I can see that it's acute. I can see that it's obtuse. It's greater than 90 degrees. I'm going to take my protractor, line up the meeting point with the bottom of the crossbar right there. Make sure that my zero edge is flush with the bottom ray. My bottom ray is pointing in the left direction. I left my stinky socks outside. I'm using the outer scale. I'm starting to count here at the outer 10. I'm going all the way up, and I see it's right on 110 degrees on the outer scale. So the measurement of angle GHI is 110 degrees. One more. This is angle JKL. I can see that it's an acute angle, so it has to be less than 90 degrees. I take my protractor. I line up the meeting point right at the bottom of that crossbar. I make sure my zero edge is flush with the bottom ray. My bottom ray is pointing in the right direction, which means I have to use the inner scale. I'm holding my protractor down very tight so I can get an accurate measurement. I'm starting to count from the inner 10, and I see that it lands on 40. So the measurement of angle JKL is 40 degrees.